Hi, Vera Mays here from the Learning Commons. Our workshop today is on using De Morgan's laws and negating quantifying statements. I have some students here with me, and if anybody's joining from at home, let us know if you have any questions. We have somebody monitoring the feed, and we can see what questions you have. So we're going to start with two basic overview of the rules, and then we're going to see what kind of questions the students have that are here, or if anybody has questions. So let's get started. You ready? If you can't see or if you have questions, be sure you ask, okay? All right, so we're going to negate statements. The first one is all, right? If you want to negate something, like you tell your mom, all my friends are doing this, she's going to find an example of somebody who's not doing it, and then she will have negated your statement. And so, come on. All goes to some or not everybody's doing it. So an example might be if you say all the students are going to Strozier to study, and your mom could find somebody who didn't go to Strozier to study. So that would be the negation of an all. And I'm going to show you a chart at the end of this that will help you kind of line it up. The next one is some are. So the opposite of some are would be if nobody's going. So not all or none. So an example would be if you say some of the students studied for the test. The negation would be if none of the students studied for the test. The next one, some are not, or either not or all. So if you can find, that means you say some of the people aren't going, some of the people aren't doing something. If your mom or somebody else comes back and says, no, all of them are going to do this, they would have negated your statement. So if some of the students are not prepared for the test, the negation would then be, in that case, be that all the students are prepared for the test. So if you say all of them are not going, then the opposite logic of that is if I can find one person that's going to go, I will have negated your statement. This is like when teenagers say, nobody's doing this anymore, and your mom can find somebody who is. So if you can find even one that's doing something, then you will have negated. So example here, none of the students are ready for the test. The negation would be if some of the students are ready. So putting in a chart form, I really like this because it really organizes it well. All are on top are all or not. We have all are or all or not. And then below that, put some are not. And then to negate an all, it's going to go with some or not. Negate the all or not goes to the some are. So it lines them up pretty nicely. Okay, any questions on that? All right, I have one more PowerPoint to get up with the other rules, so give me a second. And then we'll see if we have some examples. So these are on the green sheet that we have in the Learning Commons. All the rules are there. The main statement that you're going to be negating is the conditional, which is the if-then, also the conjunction and the disjunction. So let's go ahead and get started. So the conditional, the original statement starts off if P, then Q. So if I want to negate that, De Morgan's rules say, you're going to change, leave the P alone, change it to an and then negate the Q. So that's the form it's always going to take. So the if then goes to an and. The and, so P and Q. It's nice the ands negate to ors, and the ors negate to ands, so they flip. The only difference here is when you negate an and, you change it to an or, and both P and Q get negated also, to follow the rule. The next rule is if you want to negate an and. So if you had to guess, switch it to an or, and then negate both of them. All right, the last one that you do a lot of negating, was that it? That's those three, okay. So then These are the other statements that they have you write backwards and forwards in different orders, and they ask for them very specifically. The direct statement starts out being, if P, then Q. The converse of that would be, if Q, then P. So all you're doing is switching the order if you want the converse. If you want the inverse, you just negate both of them and leave them in their original order. And then if you want the contrapositive, you switch the order, Q comes first and then P, and you negate both of them. And these rules, Dimitri, are on the front of the green sheet where it says De Morgan's. Everything's right there. So for those of you at home, can you see this? Okay, it's also on our virtual commons, and we have them here in the learning commons. It's a full green sheet, and it has the rules for the conditional, the conjunction, the disjunction, the biconditional on the back. And on the front, it has the negation rules that I did and De Morgan's rules. And it also has the valid arguments and invalid arguments that you go through in your homework. All right, so we're going to see if we have any specific questions. So let me close the PowerPoints. I have a few here. Do you have, you said you didn't bring any specifics with you? Okay. Just I'm going to change to the document real quick. All right, so get your rules out. I'm going to have you help me with these statements. So the first question says, if traffic is bad, then I will be late for the party. So that's an if-then statement. It wants the inverse. So what do you think the inverse is going to be, Dimitri?
Traffic is not bad, and I will not be late for, I can't see it.
For the party. Perfect. So if traffic is not bad, then I will not be late. Very good. Let's look at one that's asking the contrapositive. Let's see if I can make that any bigger. All right. So it says, if today is payday, then I will buy groceries.
I will not buy groceries if it is not payday.
Perfect, which is kind of true, right? If you don't get paid, you're not going to go buy groceries. So that's how you use these rules. You look at each one, you look at specifically what they're asking you, and you just apply the rule to it. All right, so those of you at home, if you have any other questions, feel free to put it in the comments, or you can email us, or feel free to come into the Learning Commons, and we'd be happy to help you. I'm going to see if Dimitri has any other questions here. Look forward to seeing you again later.